in an international MLBB tournament. In many ways, guys, it's a chance to measure how far this region has come. This is the first draft that they will be able to make, and obviously bans coming out initially, Trex, to get us started.
Yeah, we got a Freya ban from the side of True Rippers, Jushin, Fovius on the side of Vitality. Nothing too crazy. The Harara coming off from True Rippers as well. We haven't seen the Harara get picked up. It's pretty much been on the ban field so far, right?
Yeah. Question now is if the Fanny ban is going to be showing up here. We were talking about it. Fanny getting banned out more consistently so far in our matches today has changed the picture of the drafts compared to MWI just a few days ago. So that's an interesting element now compared to our previous tournament here at EWC. You mentioned Vitality wanting to play their game, and True Rippers, they're reading into it. They're checking them really well. They've denied the Freya, and they've even banned out the Guinevere here, which in the jungle for Eons could have been an option to mess up what Vitality likes to do. Vitality likes that aggression, and we know Guinevere as one of the best stoppers in the game through the jungle.
It could also show something in the hands of maybe Vitality wanting to be one of the first teams today to possibly go utility jungle, maybe pick up something like the Fred, maybe pick up something that we haven't been seeing too much of that the Guinevere can go well against. First pick on the gun, Vitality. First pick hasn't really been probably anything major. It's been all over the place, right?
Yeah, been very mixed up. Today we've seen heroes such as Ling get rushed, but we saw this earlier in Vamos versus Falcons. Yeah, the Atlas getting picked up, opening a chance for True Rippers to pick up a Valentina as their response, similar to what we saw earlier in Vamos versus Falcons Game 1.
We saw the Eudora picked up second as well. The Ling also a character that had been hero that's been prioritized. And there's the Ling as well.
Yeah, the Ling has been on fire along with the Eudora, probably the two hot picks of the day.
Are you on the Eudora train? I mean, do you see the...
At this point,
yeah.
At this
How
point,
can you not be?
It's honestly insane. I'm sure everyone else has been telling you already, but the fact that Eudora is in the meta right now is unheard of. This is... Because the kit, there's no flicker, there's no movement. My only worry about the Eudora and how in the future it could fall off, again, you can't really get the Purify on the Eudora. You have to go for flicker because she doesn't have any type of dash in her kit. Going up against something like the Atlas, there is danger there, right? There's high CC. So how does Vitality counter the Eudora? Maybe that's the answer. High crowd control, and that's the same answer to the Ling, right?
Add more dashes as well. You mentioned crowd control, and anything with an Atlas getting rushed as the first pick paired up with high crowd control through the jungle, a solid kit in the mid laner who's a mix of crowd control and a lot of mobility through the Valentina. I'm already thinking no matter what Rahansha, not Rahansha, but Asuna decides to pick up as a battle spell here, it's not going to be a fun time for the Eudora. True Rippers, one thing they could have worked on a little bit more, and hopefully they did leading into this day, is that their priorities in the team fighting, not leaving their backliners a little bit too much. Sometimes their frontliners and their junglers are diving way too deep that their formation gets broken easily. Hopefully they fix that, because Vitality's formation, it's all dive, all aggro, baby.
GZG had a couple of moments in that last game, which they will end up playing. The loser of this will end up playing, where the Mei was pretty isolated. Now, granted, they were going up against a Moskov that could take those isolated fights and kind of surprise you. But that's something that obviously you would think True Rippers are trying to avoid. So just a composition that they can team fight with, but also not get caught out.
I'm liking True Rippers draft right now. I think it's clean, and I'm not crazy about the Valentina pick, honestly, this early on from Vitality.
Why not?
You still get the stiff arm of the stun from the Eudora. Yes, you have the dashes, but you're not CC immune when you're dashing in on that Valentina.
True.
You don't really have a good ult to steal right now. Yes, you could take the Eudora or something like that, but really the big win with Valentina is looking for these high utility ults, big crowd control ults, something like when you're up against the Farza or the Yve or something of that nature. Earlier today, we did see the Yve go against the Eudora. Don't think it won. Pretty sure it lost earlier still. But I kind of like that answer. Beat it with range, beat it with some sort of control. Vitality, yes, it's a solid draft, but I don't know. True Rippers is looking good for me right now.
Ooh, I feel like the Valentina came out because Vitality is probably expecting that the best options in the EXP lane for Ian's Rehansha later on would be something along the lines of Yuzhong, not Arlot, Lapu-Lapu, Alice, meaning that's 3 best options for True Rippers. That's easy steal of ultimates for the Valentina. That's why you see heroes such as the Esmeralda, the Uranus taken away, that if you're left with EXP laners as your best in the pool, who have high impact ultimates, then the Valentina pick suddenly looks better. But I get your point, where right now it seems like Valentina might struggle early.
So what do we see from True Rippers? Do they go for something not as high utility, something that's as much to steal? They go for the Alice.
There we go.
Clean pick. A little bit of crowd control to help kind of support the team of True Rippers. On the side of Vitality, they still need a gold laner. Do we see something like the Harith come in here? Is that a possibility? Decent dashes to possibly escape the Ling?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Let's see if they'll be comfortable enough with fighting under the AoE of the Ling and the Alice. Emon could make it work, but I think to be safer, they'd need something with a little bit more range. Even just playing it safe with the Claude wouldn't be such a terrible thing, but I think Emon, one thing he might be saying is like, hey, but if I go in and the Eudora still has her stun up, I'm wasting my Purify. So he said, you know what? All right, I'll give it a crack. Let's try it out.
And the Bakito as well to close out this draft. One last pick here for True Rippers. You said you liked their draft, Trex, but now you've seen the completion of Vitality's draft. What does True Rippers need to pick up here if they're going to keep you in favor of what they've done?
Need a big roamer, right? We need a big... Do we go big crowd control? We've seen the Minotaur get picked up, but then you give something over to that Valentina, which we've kind of worried about. Oh, wow. Now that's actually... You're not giving too much over to the Valentina. You have some dash to the back line. You have some possibilities. I mean, it's still, you already have nice crowd control with the Alice, so this could be workable.
Yeah, with the conceptually high diving composition that you're up against, Badang loves going up against those kind of lineups. Yeah, you get that stiff arm. You get that stiff arm up.
Well, those are the set matchups here so far, and it's 2 drafts that put MPL Indonesia winners up against India's best here in True Rippers, and their first chance at a performance where that trophy in the middle is at stake. $1 million prize pool, but this is just the beginning of that uphill battle. It is going to be True Rippers versus Team Vitality. Let's kick it over to your casters to start game 1.
Thank you so much, Terrain Day, and we are officially about to start this debut series from India's finest up against the Indonesian champions, Team Vitality. And it seems like we've solidified the Eudora in the meta so far, at least here in day 1, together with the Ling.
That they did. Brigida already an early flicker being burned out by Asuna, but that's fine. You know, that's what you got that for. This is usually what we see in the early game anyway. Some pressure in the mid lane. You want to go ahead and burn out some battle spells, or if you can essentially get a first blood, that'd be great. Let's go ahead and take a look, though, at the emblem setup. So far, again, Ling has been hyper scaling throughout today alone, day 1. Paired up with Eudora, it works so well because you can set things up, but I love the Badang pick. As you can see, even the emblems that is rolling here for Kimmy, like, you've just got good movement speed, good setup potential. Speaking of Kimmy right now, whoa, a little bit too much, burning his own flicker, first blood to Vitality.
I mean, the Badang is a really great pickup if you're just really looking to disrupt, if you want to interrupt whatever engages the opponents might do against you. But in those kinds of scenarios where they're just all going in at the same time, it's tough. Oh!
Okay, Jens gets the purple buff. They're going to force this fight, it looks like, anyway. Early on, Kimmy picks up a kill. Some revenge now for True Rippers. They say, get out of my jungle.
And the difference is Kimmy's not alone.
Yeah, Kimmy's not alone.
Kimmy had help there, so with that fist break at least landing and catching multiple opponents, then there was a better punish that you got to see from True Rippers this time around. Handing them over the very slight advantage you're seeing, but that's not a start that you'd want for a Ling jungler, because you really just wanted to interrupt his farming. You don't want him to get those early kills, but now you somehow got him involved in the early skirmishes this game.
Oh, okay. Maestro's up something. Moreno's got his own Tempest Blades. Turtle's going to be up first objective, but I think True Rippers wants to go ahead and just take their time with this. They know positioning is in their favor. You got half health on your jungler. Ians doesn't want to take this fight just yet.
They're going to hold this though. True Rippers are at least going to position themselves here, but this is an Akai that we're talking about. An Akai trying to fight the objectives, but there you go. Finn finally shows up.
There it is. There's a Throne of Ruin already used. Tempest of Blades comes down too. They'll just go for the fight. Moreno uses his own, and now Niall will lock down in there. Emon comes through with a blazing duet. Couple bodies dropping over here into this fight, but the fight for the turtle looks like it's going to go over to Vitality.
That was too much crowd control from Team Vitality, and we were just highlighting the impact of an Akai in the objective fight. Oh, wait!
He's 1 HP. Oh, Moreno's around the corner, goes in with the flicker to capitalize another kill.
That's a massive win you get to see from Team Vitality, taking the objective and multiple kills across the board against True Rippers. Asuna will be here though. I don't think they will get to find any trades from this rotation that you're seeing. But Vitality are just so quick to convert. They're just so proactive across the map, winning it out. And now you see how much gold they've secured for Eman, which you would assume is not going to be the best possible matchup, considering that he is up against the carry, who, by the way, is also a Master Assassin.
Yeah, wanted to basically go 1v1 in that lane, try to get the upper hand for Garcia, but you know, this is one of the cases, right? When you build this kind of composition that's supposed to snowball, and especially for your Ling, again, if you get delayed, then the whole team's affected to an extent, right? And you're talking about 2,000 gold lead. It's nothing too crazy. It's still early on in the game. But my main concern here, Brigida, is that next turtle that comes up. True Rippers definitely wants to get in a better position when it comes to actually taking the objective. And it seems like Team Vitality is just willing to go ahead and force a fight, you know, try to get the upper hand in terms of fight.
Yeah, because I like that they're confident. They try to position themselves first, but hold on, Garcia's all alone here.
Oh, Garcia's got no flicker too. You're just not going to be able to escape this. An easy pickup there as it goes over to Emon, plus the damage on the turret. Asuna too late to the fight.
All right, so this time around, going back to what we were talking about, True Rippers, at least they do make some attempts. They try to position themselves early on. They have the slight advantage because, again, they do have their very own sources of crowd control. But the thing is, I feel like Kimmy is starting to become a much vulnerable target for Vitality because they have much more crowd control. Hold on, though, Niall.
Okay, I was going to say, what are they up to? They get the flicker out, though, from Garcia. So, again, a battle spell used. It just came off cooldown. And now you're not going to have it. Plus, your tier 1 turret goes down in that gold lane.
How much gold has he possibly lost in that moment? And how much has went over to the hands of Eman, who's now 2-0-1 and who took all these energy shields from that turret down bottom? It's Vitality clearly having the advantage here in this upcoming objective. Asuna couldn't even go anywhere close, not even Kimmy, because I feel like they're really playing from behind. And this is an objective that they are going to give up. No trades across the map whatsoever too, so it's as if True Rippers are now forced to play reactive against Team Vitality.
Yeah, they kind of have no choice here at this point, Brigida. They gotta either potentially look for an all-out play, but so far it's just been responding to what Team Vitality is doing. Rahansha too, 1v3, gonna get thrown back away from the turret, burns the flicker too, and goes down anyway. That's just how much of a lead Vitality has right now against True Rippers.
Oh, I'm not sure why they went back as well. It was possibly trying to take their attention for a much longer time, since True Rippers were trying to look for trades on the other side of the map, but I feel like even then that was a bit too much time because they would have gotten it either way.
Oh, Kimmy goes in with a lockdown, but it's Emon. Doesn't even pop the Purify, but now he's going off. Tempest of Blades is going to be used. They're going to force the fight anyway, and he'll get out. Purify used. Here's the conceal. Does Vitality choose the fight? No, they're just going to push into the jungle further.
That is not the easiest target to catch if you are True Rippers. Going up against or trying to lock down the Claude on a Purify with the BMI, with only just the Badang to rely on for crowd control, because not even Asuna could come close. Garcia!
Oh, Garcia. Just not having a good time in this game. A Fatal Links once again. It's Kimmy, the target. Emon's in the area, but it's a double for Niall. And this is the thing, Vitality just choosing their targets at leisure. This is the problem for True Rippers. They don't really have an answer to this tempo that's been set by Vitality.
Yep, wherever Eman is, that lane is just so active. You draw him a couple moments ago down bottom, and now it's already the tier 1 going down. And you see him up top, and now even that goes down. And Rihansha could barely survive this. Ian goes in though.
Goes in, comes Blades, but you want to get out of there. Shogun's right here. He's charged up, goes in with 1-2 punch, and will take out Asuna under it. But can Kimmy get a kill? Convert it over? No, he can't. So it's again just True Rippers scrambling, looking for anything across the map. They're going to lose a tier 1 turret. This turtle, 3 for 3, should go over to Vitality unless they just wait it out for that Lord to come through.
Yeah, and they could no longer anticipate the angles from which Vitality are actually coming from. Shogun isn't being checked at all. He's just free to go in for these very aggressive plays, even 1v1, considering the amount of lead that's already in their hands. It's 5K. I feel like a majority of it is in the hands of Eman as well, by the way, but you haven't seen the Blazing do it in action just yet too. So that just adds to multiple layers of the threats that you have to think about when you're going up against Team Vitality. True Rippers, at this point, is it really just counter-engage that they can rely on? Because they have the Badang, they have the Alice, they have setup potential, but their scaling is just mostly gonna take some time.
Yeah, Shogun doing what he wants to do here up on this bottom side. Ians will go ahead and survive. Half health, he's actually gonna go use the Retribution. Lord's already taken 2. Tempest of Blades used. Shogun might get caught, does have to burn the Flicker, and he's able to escape. Even with the conceal, here comes the rest of Vitality, though, to counter punch. There's the lockdown from Nile, their own version of Tempest of Blades, but from Moreno, and fighting under the turret with Emon blazing to it, shooting everywhere he wants to, and now Rahansha as well. They'll clean up. Rahansha can't do anything but just watch the team get decimated under these turrets. He can't escape, trying to get away with the Gleam, and just barely will survive.
And that's the damage from the Blazing Duet that we've been talking about. So much has been forced out of True Rippers in just that single fight without even the Lord by their side. Now they pop the Holy Shields down bot, and the Lord will get a much easier access to their base turrets. True Rippers, they're falling behind significantly. That 5K gold lead we've been talking about earlier has now doubled the amount, and Finn goes in once again.
Devastating here on the defense. Kimmy gone in an instant, as well as their turret. Lord is still up here. Conceal going to be used. Finn off the off angle. Emon's going to jump in with the Blazing Duet, firing off on Garcia and Rahansha. Gleam there, trying to escape. Thrown a Ruin used as well, and now here comes the Tempest of Blades. Can they turn it around? A kill's picked up, but Emon will just fire on the base as Vitality will take game 1.
The Lord has not been dealt with, and True Rippers lost sight of how important it is. They were unable to defend, and Team Vitality, with such a clean performance from the laning all the way to the late game, if it was even the late game, took this game away from True Rippers in a very dominant fashion.
No late game inside of that one, Brigida. Under 10 minutes for that game 1. You know, Vitality, again, it's their own journey from all the way through Indonesia, the professional league there, up to this point now here for MSC. And you could see it in game 1 against a team who's also new on this stage, this international stage. You know, this is something that can be looked at as a big lesson learned for True Rippers. But if you break it down, it's one of the things where there's so many things, so many boxes that True Rippers has to check off here. I mean, from the get-go, as we look at the highlights here from STC, you can see how this all started. There was an attempt off of this of, you know, get up our jungle, but then they kind of lost track of the map and, you know, keeping Garcia basically covered. I mean, Garcia a lot of times didn't have even a chance, you know, to survive in that gold lane.
I think this just poses multiple questions for True Rippers in terms of that game and the approach that they really want to go for. The lineup, you could see that they probably want to just go for counter-engage or maybe a bit more of the punish quote-unquote attempt when it comes to playing against a team like Team Vitality. There are just so many dives. They have multiple ways to also respond, but at the same time, they were just... It came to a point where they were just too behind that they couldn't even respond anymore, and they were just constantly run over by Team Vitality. And there's just so much that we have to talk about in regards to what they have to do to get back in this series. So let's leave it to the panel as we throw it back over together with Rain Day.
Thank you so much, Brigida and Naisu. I mean, what do they need to do to get back in this series? My goodness, I might be like, you know, trying to figure out theory of relativity before Einstein took a stab at it, because it could be a little bit of an unsolvable problem right now. The fastest this game we have seen so far, true dominance from Team Vitality, and True Rippers just trying to stay engaged. But it was a tempo problem.
Yeah, it was a huge gap in experience and skill overall. You saw them, they're great with the counter punch at the start. They were able to punish the aggressive start of Team Vitality, but it was that first turtle that we were talking about behind the scenes where you really saw, it's like, man, if only they just held on to some key skills to wait for Vitality's counter go, maybe that could have been better, but now they just went all in.
Yeah, I think what we wanted to see from them was what we saw in that very first counterplay that they had. They kind of let Vitality come to them. They got a quick play against it. There was one other point where they were able to do the same thing when Vitality was up in that top lane, and they went for play on the bottom and got a tower. But outside of that, they were just scrambling. It was always chasing after whatever Vitality was doing, following Vitality's tempo instead of setting their own, and falling into just about every trap that Vitality wanted them to.
And it's really hard for a team to come into a position like this and try to set the tone, trying to set the stage when you know that the stage has been occupied by teams who have been there, done that, and are on their way to try to repeat. And so you coming in as a newer team and with a big representation of India on your back, how do you have the confidence to do that? And I think we saw in the interview that maybe they didn't right now, but maybe this game will show them that if you don't bring the confidence, it's going to be a fast exit.
Yeah, I feel like with them having the thought of, there's no pressure on us, and then trying to find that confidence, it felt like they were overcompensating with just the wrong timing of where they're going in the map or what play that they're trying to make specifically. So pro players in MLBB have already spoken so many times before where because they were at this certain mindset, they didn't realize they were overlooking something. Whether it's when they use their skill or when the opponent has used their skill, they've lost track of that. And I feel like that's sort of what happened with True Rippers.
I think there's hesitation there. You're kind of going, yeah, okay. What did happen with True Rippers then?
A lot happened. I don't know if they weren't mentally ready for this game. I think when a game goes like that, when a game ends in under 10 minutes, there's not a whole lot to say.
No, there's not.
You walked in, you played wrong. I think at this point, we need another game before I can really say maybe they just weren't ready for this. Maybe there's still a lot on the table that they need to perfect. The draft looked good. These are playable picks.
Yep.
We saw very similar drafts from earlier teams that won. So the draft wasn't exactly the problem. I think it was coming into that game, there was a lot of small issues, not having vision on Shogun when he got that big play from them. Their mid lane, Eudora just walking off on her own, no one checking bushes. They were split up. Vitality was running out as a unit. TRX, everyone was kind of doing their own thing.
I do think with Team Vitality, though, the difference maybe in Series 2 that I've noticed, and Rinmar, I want your thoughts on this. Team Falcons PH had a pretty similar level of, when the game was over, dominating across GZG. However, they did lose that early game, and they were down for like 5 minutes before they clawed back. Team Vitality looked like they stepped on the gas and they never let go. Does that signal a little bit of the strength of what this team might be bringing to the overall conversation to you, or is it more about just what True Rippers are allowing them to do?
I feel like it's more of what True Rippers are allowing them to do. The most glaring play for me was with that first turtle was they fought way too hard, way too early, not even respecting the fact that the Paquito was on its way to join the fight. Once the Paquito of Shogun showed up, it was pretty much over. They wanted to get some early little trades of health, but then that just ended up punishing Kimmy on the Badang even more. And once they lost Kimmy on the Badang, once Shogun joined in the Paquito, the math does not math damage-wise. The team with the Paquito will out-damage you in the early game.
To extend on that point even more, if Vitality was up against possibly certain other teams, or when we see some of these top regional teams go up against each other, even with an 8K gold lead, you might not try to go for a base end at 8 minutes, right? You might take the inhibitors, play it safe, and back off. Especially when we saw the Ling come in and get a kill. They didn't care. They're like, I know that he was being kind of nice in the interview, but Vitality was very confident that we are going to get the better of them. They were kicking down doors. They were running in base, even after losing a member. You'll see it later on in this tournament. A lot of teams won't be that aggressive if they feel like the match is even.
And I think that probably tells us a little bit more. It's kind of like show, don't tell when you talk about film. It's in the same way, it's like they were kind of showing that they didn't really respect True Ripper's defense at this moment in time. Doesn't mean that they can't show us something better. And I think that's what True Ripper's task is now, to go in and say, listen, not a lot to learn. We lost completely. They dominated completely. They feel like they can do it again. So how do we now start working a strategy back to give us some hope? And if I look at you, I mean, what would you think? Is there an answer?
All right. Maybe if I was coaching this team, I'd have to talk to my roamer and mid laner real quick. I'll take a quick talk with Kimmy and Asuna. You mentioned a great point earlier where it felt like at times they weren't connected. Like they both wanted to do different things at different times just so that they could regain some sense of control in the map. I think it's best to start there.
Okay.
And then Rahansha, I feel like Rahansha's doing all right. We mentioned the early EXP lane exits to help your side of the river. He was able to achieve that, but it always starts with the roam mid trio. Roam, mid, jungle, how well are they rotating together? We focus on that.
I agree. I mean, I think right now, and that's the problem that we're seeing from the side of True Rippers, some of that rotation was off. There was a few times that I'm looking, and the one fight that they did win, it was on, right? All three, the jungler, we saw the big setup from the Badong. After that, once we started seeing Vitality attack those off lanes, it was either Eudora coming down to bot by herself with Badong somewhere else on the map. It was all of them caught up on that top lane, split up from the rest of the group. Repeatedly, Vitality was running 4-1 once we got into that mid game, to whereas on the side of True Rippers, it was like 2 at top, 1 in mid, 1 at bottom, Ling's over trying to clear lanes. There just seemed to be, there wasn't much glue holding them together throughout that game. And when you're losing that bad, sometimes it's better to just sacrifice the arm to keep the body, right?
Yeah.
Let that bottom tier 3 go and group up to defend the rest of your team. Let a couple towers go to not lose 2 or 3 members, and that's where True Rippers started to fall there.
Yeah, you can hope that this is maybe just a feeler game, right? Maybe this is just something they were needing to get out of their system, get the nerves out as well. It is a big deal, and going into this next draft, they can hopefully do something similar, but it also like raises a bigger question for me, because we look at like Eudora and Ling coming out. I mean, to the meta for today, you could say perfect 1-2.
Yeah.
Yet when you get a good draft and you still perform like that, Rinmar, is it more of a conversation like, do we even try to like hit meta that well if we're not comfortable on how we're playing it? Do we try to get more of these comfort picks for us so that we feel good on our heroes?
Well, from a coach's perspective, you'd want to be able to tell your players at least one good thing to latch on to.
Yeah.
It's like, and that thing is right now, it's like, hey guys, our drafts are all right. You guys were able to handle that early game response really well. Let's just fix this and this and this. Hey, the 3 of you talk a little bit more. You start from somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, maybe we're being a little harsh on True Rippers, right? It is day 1. I've seen a lot of teams come in day 1, mess up, come back day 2 without all those jitters. This is their first time on a stage like this. This is their first time against a team like this. And yes, you can do well in scrims or you can do bad in scrims, but nothing prepares you for getting on that stage and facing up against a champion of some of the top regions in the world. Because yes, you're right, they had a good draft. And everything we're saying came down to small bad decisions. And one of the big things that small bad decisions comes from is nerves, is pressure, is the comms are off, everyone's shutting down. So I think at this point, the best thing we can say for True Rippers is, just pull it together, guys. Just pull it together.
It's a big deal. I mean, you talk about MPL, obviously Indonesia, and winners of that and Team Vitality. But one of the things with regions, especially, and we know this in the Americas, Trex, where you don't have as many representatives, you don't have the highest quality of competition, you have a few stars that maybe make it and you put all your hope on. That is tough for a region to develop because you don't have the same level of day in, day out, high level competitors. And so you got to say, yes, we have to look at this maybe through a different lens. Everyone at home still rooting for True Rippers. If you come in, everyone in the crowd waiting to see what's going on, a stare down. I like it. Just saying, I'm not looking away. Neither should you.
Man didn't blink.
He did not blink. He 1 to him, 0 to the cameraman.
Ice cold.
Ice cold. What's cooler than being cool?
Ice cold.
All right.
Yeah, True Rippers, I mean, the energy is, we got to do something different. There is not much to talk about for that one. And I think that can be disappointing, but it also can, set up a conversation here. And that's why I try to give you guys the hard questions. I'm not going to take the E equals MC squared. I want you to look at these drafts and say, can you do any better? What can you do? Can you make it difficult for Team Vitality?
I was looking at their bans, and honestly, their bans are great. They took out the Freya because of the Phobia's first ban by Vitality. It was the sensible choice to take out the Freya for True Rippers. They banned the Hirara and the Marcel. I wouldn't even hate on the Badang pick because we saw the potential of it. As tricky as it could have been to run, early on, we saw that glimpse of, oh, so this is what this lineup could have done. Oh, this is what they look like when they're together. I think one thing that went really well for Vitality is, besides Finn getting his comfort pick in the Atlas, Niall's timing with the Akai on the every heavy spin was great. He wasn't always using it to engage. Most of the times he was using it to play defensively. All right, thanks True Rippers for using all of your skills. Let me punish you with my heavy spin, and then there's no way you can get away. So Vitality did a lot of things right.
I think True Rippers maybe came into that game, you see the Ling get picked up. You see the Adora. It's an aggressive lineup, right?
Yeah.
To whereas Vitality, they took the utility jungle. They took the slight slow play. They had aggressive EXP laners. I think True Rippers maybe came in thinking, maybe we can beat them in the micro.
Yeah.
Maybe you come from a region like that, and you see it the same with NA. You see it with a lot of, outer regions in a sense. Great micro. They want to go for those team fights. They want to meet you face to face because that's what we're good at. We're good at brawling. Maybe Vitality needs to take the slower play in game number 2. Look for a more, we can kind of just bounce you off of us in the beginning. We look for a mid to late game. We try to slow things down in that first 4 minutes.
Yeah. I'm all right with that too. Weirdly enough, there's a certain level of speed in taking it slow sometimes, where you're going nice and it's easy, then suddenly go in for the surprise, you put the pedal to the metal, next thing you know, your opponents are wondering, wait, you weren't like this for the first 5 minutes, where is this impact suddenly coming from? Where is all of this momentum coming from? And teams that aren't used to going up against teams like that will almost always get surprised by it, and similar to what we saw in game number 1, get run over.
Dangerous Grass, our map choice. It was Flying Clouds in previous game 1, so we'll have a little bit more cover towards that base and some of the areas on the map to see how that can help either slow it down or speed it up with those surprise moments Renmar was talking about.
Heroes like Hilda always doing well in Dangerous Grass. Some of those more on-the-ground assassins instead of things like Ling that can kind of really take advantage of the extra hiding spots, right? So this time, True Rippers will be on the blue side. First pick. We saw the Atlas get picked first last game. We've seen the Atlas get first picked before. Yeah. It's probably been one of the more popular first picks. You don't reveal your hand too much, and it's just a great roamer right now with the crowd control, the amount of movement it has across the map. It could definitely be a first pick here from True Rippers.
Yeah, considering that they banned out the Valentina, I feel like that's exactly what they're setting up for, unless they have another pick in mind. If they suddenly swerve us all and pick an old surprise first pick in the Juice in just because they want to take it away from Moreno, because this Valentina ban could be two ways, either because they want to set up an Atlas, or they saw Moreno and the Valentina said, I don't want any more of that. But then are they more onto that mindset of taking away some of Moreno's best picks, one of them being the Juice in? Hopefully it's not that, and hopefully they're setting up for the Atlas.
They ban out the Ling, so Jushin's still open. But with the Ling gone, you do at least take away some of that aggression. But Vitality doesn't need the Ling, honestly. Yeah. They've already shown, we can beat you with the Akai, and we get the swing back. So if they do take the Atlas on the side of True Rippers, Vitality still gets Akai, Jushin, something like that. So Vitality looking good on the swing back with the 2 picks from Red.
If it is Akai Jushin and they go Atlas first, what do True Rippers respond to make it difficult for Akai to have the same level of impact they had last game?
Oh, that's more of an execution question now. You're going to be able to poke it constantly, take away its health. A lot of the great impact that Niall had was because True Rippers already used their dashes or already used their skills that could stop the Akai. So a little bit more on the timing within the game itself.
So in that question, is it just also prioritizing, if this is our weakness, we're getting caught out, heroes that have a little bit more mobility or have more abilities to deal with CC and still stay in the fight and be relevant?
Yeah, that could work too, but then again, it's like, how are they going to use it? How are they going to use all those tools that they have? If their timing is off, it's going to go to waste.
Honestly, first pick Jushin Jushin's able to kite away from the Akai if Vitality wants to go for it. I know we were kind of like yelling about it, but then you still get the Atlas on the side of Vitality, but you pick up Purify on the Jushin. And then you can kind of play around. They end up going for the Atlas, so there it is.
Yeah.
We talked about Moreno on the Jushin. Do we think it's a definite lock, Remar?
Oh, if they do, that's gonna be a bit of an ego pick. An ego in the good way. It's like, it's that Vitality ego. It's like, I know we're better than you. Let me show you some of our old favorite tactics of like packing a sprint on this Jushin, giving it a Sky Piercer, and then suddenly it's just gonna go crazy because you gave it way too many kills early on. I could see them doing that, honestly.
2 picks coming up for Vitality. Atlas taken away this time for True Rippers, who start with that. Let's see what Vitality do to respond.
With the way that Vitality won last game, they could also completely steer a new way. And Harara was left open, so we are going to get to see some aggression on the jungle of Vitality. As their second pick, Selena, this is exactly what I said. After winning game 1, we could see them take a complete left turn and kind of switch things up here.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't the Jushin, but this definitely goes into that school of thought of, yeah, let me just show you how much better I am than you. That's a hell of a pick. You do not see Selena come out this early. This is coming from a team that... Oh, wait, no, I just realized. Coach Panda is with Team Vitality. The last time we saw him in the MSC stage, he wasn't able to fly out. But that was the meta of Atlas at Rome. Selena was one of the picks he wanted to pick up because at least you could set up some traps so that you could get vision. Now, this is surprising to me because the Uranus is one of the responses to the Selena in the sense of, all right, go ahead and waste your Abyssal Arrow onto me so you have a strong front line. But then they pick up a Yi Sun Shin. This requires them also getting a strong fighter type in the gold because if they go double carries, it might be too greedy.
Freya's not open.
Yeah.
They could go for... Call me crazy, but they could go for something like a Ruby Gold.
You're crazy, but that's good.
But honestly, the Harara wants to dash in, the Selena wants to dash in. Something that can stiff arm those heroes that want to get up close and personal. It works great along with the YSS. If you want to see at least a fighter in the gold, something bulky in the gold, it could be an option for sure. Belleric gets picked up by the side of Vitality. This is a roamer we've had our eyes on. Is this a first showing so far today? We haven't seen the Belleric yet, I don't think.
So far today, yeah, it's been banned, surprisingly enough, yeah. It's gotten banned out more. Oof. What are they going to pick up at the gold? Actually, that's just my biggest question right now for True Rippers. What are you picking up at the gold lane?
Unless they swap YSS to gold.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, unless they really go a little bit back into the meta and then suddenly bring back YSS in the gold lane.
They have the option. They have the option.
They have the option, all right. They have the option.
We'll see Yi Sun Shin, the last pick for True Rippers so far. We've got 2 more to go. As Belleric selected.
God, I'm not used to seeing that face there. I was like, who's that?
Yeah.
Who is that?
Still getting used to the newer portrait. Yeah.
Getting used to seeing that hero anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. We usually see it in a rank game.
Wait, that's a hero?
Suddenly, it's a meta pick in MSC. Who would have thought? 2026, everyone.
Earlier we said fire sometimes needs to be fought with fire. Sometimes you need to cool it down and try to go the opposite direction. In this case, fast game, fast win for Team Vitality. Do True Rippers try to match that pace and out slug them? Or is this better if True Rippers trying to find a lineup that just survives and just builds towards seeing more gameplay?
It depends on whether they believe they just played bad last game.
Right.
Or if they truly think that Vitality's a little bit better.
What do you believe they think?
We're going to find out.
We'll find out. We don't need to find out for you to believe.
I mean, I don't know yet.
Do you think they see it as a mismatch?
I think they drafted very well last game, right?
Okay.
Like I said, I agree with their draft last game. So coming into game 2, whereas it all nerves last game, right?
Yeah.
That's tough, man. That's tough. I already said that I think they should slow play this game. I don't think they should come in thinking we can just go all out. You're up against Indonesia, which is known as a brawly region. They're great at micro mechanics. They're great at going toe-to-toe, especially with regions like this. They're kind of the stoppers for other brawly regions. Don't get me wrong, Vitality have great macro, but they are ready to headbutt with you a bit. So I don't know if that's the direction True Rippers should go, but hey, they might take it there. They got a YSS right now, so they kind of have to.
Yeah.
Renmar?
Paris, gold. If they decide to go for like a fighter in the gold lane, they will
Give me
not
a
have
Ruby
the firepower. Ruby Gold, and then they're gonna turtle it out and just hold the fort down for their YSS. With the Selena around, with the Herrera around, that's gonna be a tough ask. Unless True Rippers are gonna surprise us with a pick here. But no, they'll play it stable. They'll go for a double carry, a Gord in the mid, greedy lineup, but they have the damage.
Maybe that's what they felt. I mean, it seemed like the tempo was they wanted to counter-engage, right?
Yeah.
So there was a lot of understanding that they were going to brawl. The choke comes out, and we were going to deal with the brawl. Maybe they felt they didn't have enough damage to properly punish the counter-engage from Team Vitality. So a different, but I think clear approach, Renmar, and what True Rippers wants to do in Game 2.
Yeah, you can see the idea there. It's just with Uranus games, it's always really good or really bad because your EXP laner doesn't have strong crowd control, but the rest of them do. So the crowd control is there somewhat.
To an extent, yes, you have some crowd control with the Moskov, but again, like, it's more defensive crowd control. And my big worry for True Rippers right now is with how they lacked crowd control last time, they're easily able to get dived on. It's looking very similar.
All right, well, Game 2, will it spell another sub 10-minute win for Team Vitality, or will True Rippers be able to even up the series? Let's send it over to Naisu and Brigitte for Game 2.
True Rippers cannot let this end sub 10, and they have to find a way back into the series in order for us to get into a game number 3, but Team Vitality, they just came into this with a Selena mid, very similar to what we've been seeing from their women's division, but also a Belric XP lane.
Belric XP, man. I mean, we've been seeing so much of Belric the past few weeks that, you know, it's like, oh yeah, he's gonna go in the XP. There's an arrow landing, Moreno. Okay, Asuna at least holding on to that flicker. Nice little stun with the projectile. Has that damage on Finn too, but will be okay. This is one thing I have to say though too. Yeah, Belric in the XP, he's running the Revitalize, and so just as the panel mentioned, you know, over in the studio, they said they like to fight. Indonesia loves to fight, and now they can extend them even further. An arrow's gonna land, you're thrown in the air, you have nowhere to go. First blood in the hands of the Maestro.
Yep, the Belric in the XP lane, I think we are yet to see a successful game from, but the Selena has been very 50-50. We all know for a fact that it has been. In this scenario, though, it's been one of the more successful Selena games as she gets 2 consecutive kills in a row.
Brigitte, they said it. You know, this is an ego pick. The fact that Selena was brought up that early in the draft and now you've gotten yourselves 2 kills, you know exactly why it was picked up that early in the draft. So this is a problem that True Ripper is going to have to deal with now for the rest of the game.
Yeah, because you have to worry about you being spotted out and you having to evade all these abyssal arrows that have so far always been connecting towards the right targets for Moreno. So it's really becoming a statement right here. The ego pick is working wonders for them, if ever it is, because the rotations have been completely disrupted for True Rippers. You don't even see them confidently take control nor show up in the river. Just look at how Shogun is holding down all these bushes and making sure that they keep every single member of True Rippers in check.
Let's see what happens here. Again, playing on this map too, dangerous grass, extra bushes to work with. They're gonna force out the rest of the members of True Rippers here for this fight. Mountain Shock are gonna be used too. They're gonna come in for the lockdown, and SOD already thrown out. Good kill on Nile. This is what True Rippers need to be able to go ahead and secure themselves an objective. They have all the room to work with right now as EANS will secure the turtle. Fight's gonna break out. There's the gush, and True Rippers, they've awoken in Game 2.
One of the tankiest members extending that fight, actually leading to an advantage for True Rippers right there. I don't think Nile nor the rest of Team Vitality had enough damage to just take down this Uranus, this Rehansha who's been just standing in the way for so long. Even Kimmy just baiting out some of their attention and taking in majority of the damage too, eventually allowing them to get access to Nile. So this is maybe one of the potential workarounds for this draft, is just really sustaining everything as much as you can, because mostly the damage is gonna come, yes, from Moreno. Like the burst damage, in terms of burst, it's really just gonna come from Moreno at this point in Nile. But as long as you get to tank everything, then maybe there could be a way around this for True Rippers.
Yeah, that way is their tanky front line. Vision used. There's a whole wombo combo for Finn. Another kill picked up here for True Rippers.
True Rippers are starting to be a lot more active than you expected them to be. A really great setup on that Fatal Links as you've seen, but Rehansha too, the way that he's been moving around, I think it's really big help.
And SOD, again, Suno with a pickup kill. Next one, looking for more in the mid lane, arrow thrown out. Finn joining the fight, has a flicker, but doesn't want to risk it, so they just disengage for now. Vitality now in this position where they're second guessing some of these engages against True Rippers, and that's exactly where they want to find themselves currently, because it's just you don't want to give too much over, right? Yeah. This Gourd, we've seen it before. There's a reason why the Gourd has really picked up in the meta. You get a couple kills going on him. That Mystic Gush is a great zoning tool, but it's also obviously a big damage tool. And that's something they have to watch out for, because not only are you working around Abyssal Arrows for Vitality, the potential for a pick-off with a kick from the Cho, but even True Rippers, this composition has its strengths, and one of them is that amount of synergy that comes with the ultimates plus that Gush.
Which is really interesting, because it seems like True Rippers are the ones who are going for the more brawly plays and team fights from this point onwards, but they're setting up for this objective. Shogun finally going to be part of this team fight. We haven't seen the Belleric just yet. Oh, but Finn misses that flicker!
Yep, not the setup they were looking for. Down into the Rapid Dryad to be able to pick up one. Shogun gone. Emon under the Zaman Force. They're still going to be firing off, and if Finn falls again here too. True Rippers fighting Vitality, and Emon trying to get away, but will not be able to escape Rehansha. True Rippers, they found their footing.
If you want to fight brawls, if you want to go all out on team fights, then True Rippers are doing exactly just that. They're playing around Ian, they're playing around Asuna. And even if you wanted, or we wanted to point out the fact that maybe this wouldn't be, oh, hold on, Jans
is going to be able to survive just 1 HP.
Yeah, he cannot go down like that. Just as True Rippers were already getting the advantage. But going back, this seems to be a very straightforward approach for True Rippers, but it's working out for them really, really well. I guess we're starting to feel the demands of hope.
Oh, he's going to go for the kill too. Went in for the kick. Ian's able to get enough health back. And Finn is the one to get punished. A misstep there from Finn.
Yep, so maybe we are starting to feel the demands of how skill shot based or how mechanically dependent these compositions are for the team Vitality. You really have to layer them out really well. It has to follow a certain sequence, whereas True Rippers can just be in your face. They could just create space, and they could just allow their damage dealer to do their thing. Team Vitality seems to be a bit more precise in terms of the teamfight approach.
Oh, Emon. He tries to get away, pop the Purified too. An engagement in the mid lane. Zaman Force already dropped down. There's the Gush on Finn, trying to escape. An SOD thrown out as well. The Revitalize, though, helps the fight as they fight back, but Shogun goes down. A arrow thrown out, and now Finn looking for more. They re-engage once more. Nile not able to capitalize on a kill unless he can go back into this fight. He looks for the moment. He goes in under the turret, able to pick up a double kill for Nile. Looking for potentially more. And again, he has the Sky Piercer, so that's 2 stacks.
And they've somewhat turned things around here for Team Vitality, at least for now. They're already able to lessen the lead, but Nile is still being chased by Rehansha here. Okay, we'll get the objective, but Rehansha.
Can he escape? Yep. He's going to be fine again. This Uranus very strong, and he's had a solid game so far. Again, 3-0-4. He is the bulwark for the team currently, but Vitality shows some fight in them. Off of that exchange in the mid lane, plus an objective, they slowly make a baby step in the right direction, but still, True Rippers up amidst it all. Nice little Rapid Dryad there, used up. Garcia will be able to survive, though. Good thing for some backup up on the other side of the map. They're going to be going once again on Ians. He falls. Top turret. Kimmy could be next.
Okay.
He gets taunted with Shogun. He tries to get away. Popping the conceal, but Emon won't let it happen as he takes down Kimmy.
So much happening all over the map. I might want to take a look at the items right now. I am really eager to see what builds have they been picking up, especially for Cho and Belleric, and it seems like they're just going for tank.
Yeah.
But despite that, you could really feel how much pressure they're actually able to put onto the opponents, how much they're able to actually maybe get out of True Rippers, but I would want to see more, especially from Finn. Maybe a more accurate way of the dragon and targeting from Team Vitality, and that Even if it wasn't a kick, was a really good one.
Would you call that accurate? I mean, he got the flicker out, right?
He somehow got the flicker out, and I think that's his win for Team Vitality.
That's one of those things, though, with a Cho, you know, across them, you don't know sometimes if they're going to full commit to it or not. Sometimes you're like, hey, it's better a flicker than a death, you know? So that is burned from Asuna, but still, nonetheless, still alive and still in charge, at least for now. Barely for True Rippers. Again, they got a turret up ahead of Vitality, plus a little bit of a gold to work with. But this Lord coming up in 10 seconds will tell us a whole lot of where this game is going.
And by the way, it has always been here in mid. Majority of the action has been here in mid. I feel like Team Vitality, for one, because of how frequent the fights have been happening in mid, Vitality have somewhat taken advantage of that. They've been doing things on other parts of the map, which has really lessened the lead, but Kimmy...
There's a kick right on the mark. They're going to take out Kimmy after the Fatal Links is used, but he's gone. SOD thrown out, now in the disengage for Vitality, so they're going to take an advantage of it. True Rippers will take down the Tier 1 in mid, even down a member. Now they're going to potentially get set up around this Lord pit here.
Okay, so True Rippers, despite what we were pointing out, just really wanted that Tier 1 in mid perhaps, but Finn, does he find another one?
Oh, Finn wants to go. G-Kundo, Salmon Force drop down. They're going to force the fight once again in the mid as Ians is taken out. And now next, the taunt comes through as Rahansha falls. And now with multiple down for True Rippers, Lord for the taking here for Team Vitality.
It was just sheer damage, sheer aggression from Team Vitality to equalize this scenario in this game. Shogun might just get caught here with the Fatal Links though, but the damage is not enough.
The damage is not enough. The Revitalize is all you need. Kimmy trying to get away, but an missile arrow will land, and it's a double for Niall again. Stacks on stacks for this Hurrara.
And they will take that Tier 1 away from True Rippers just the same. Now the lead, which was in the hands of True Rippers for the longest time, is now over to Vitality, and they also have a Lord. It's been 10 minutes of somewhat team fights happening in mid, skirmishes and scrambles happening here and there, but now it's Vitality who somewhat still have the better grasp of the macro and are now pushing True Rippers to defend for now.
It seems so quick for the momentum to shift over in favor of Team Vitality. Off of a lot of forced fights or, you know, these skirmishes happening in the mid lane. You can see the stacks here too for Niall. He's got that 44 on the Sky Piercer, and, you know, that's deadly to deal with because the way that we've seen the Hurrara played is just kind of in and out. You know, you're utilizing the iframes that you have that good amount of damage. You can kind of weave in and out of fights, and now that you have multiple stacks in this way, you're a big threat to the rest of True Rippers.
Yeah, at least for True Rippers, they have decent wave clear. They were also able to at least take control of that top lane so they don't feel as much pressure in terms of the synced up waves crashing. But there goes a Mountain Shocker. They have an idea of where Team Vitality currently are, but they're not going to focus on a fight just yet. But there are flickers in Team Vitality's hands, so they might have to watch out for that.
Again, a play could be made here by Finn. A BOD was just picked up by Niall as well. Finn right there in the mid. Not sure if he's going to commit to it. Doesn't just yet. Again, Kimmy waiting for that flicker to be available so that he could potentially set something up. I'd love to see this, all this time that Garcia has had to go ahead and farm up on the Moskov, to go ahead and turn the tide with a great SOD or, you know, some initiation from the fight from True Rippers, because they've got that potential. They just got to go ahead and get the upper hand. Let's take a quick look at the items here.
Yep. They already have the damage. That's the Trinity already built in here for Garcia, and he also has just locked in the Rose Gold Meteor. So even if Lee, let's say, unfortunately gets to take that Abyssal Arrow, he could probably survive an additional hit or two. But that's the thing, True Rippers, I like how they're being very careful about this. They didn't want to force a fight, especially without Garcia in range. But the Wrath of Dryad.
Wrath of Dryad used. Kimmy can't get away, and there's the setup they were looking for, right on target. As Asuna is gone, 2 down for True Rippers. And it was these arrows once again from Moreno that just brought Kimmy low enough for them to collapse down. Just like they'll collapse on the tier 2 turret. There's a push up top from Garcia. But the base turret in mid's going to be worked on here. The minions will be cleared out. Lord is coming up. Team Vitality will make their way.
They're pretty much left with no choice. I like how they're at least getting trades though. This is different from game number 1. Garcia goes back in though.
And Garcia joins after that, throwing that SOT.
Yeah.
True Rippers will be able to go ahead and hold up on this front side. It looks like they want to go ahead and at least stall out Team Vitality. The rest of the team is up here. Could they potentially take this Lord? They got to dance around these Abyssal Arrows. Nile joined the fight now too. They're going to be going, looking for a potential fight already for the Lord. Everything already thrown out. Moreno's gone. Lord secured though by Nile. The fight still breaking out. Finn finally goes down. True Rippers trying to win the fight here. They might have lost the Lord, but they can take more with them. They're going to go for Shogun. They get the stun. It's a double for Garcia.
And that's when Finn couldn't even land the stuns, wasn't even able to just kick Ian's out of the way to secure the objective. Let's take a look at that replay, because I feel like there was a clear attempt, at least from Finn, to just deny the retribution from Ian's here. He was just trying to chase after him, and he did not successfully do so. But the knockups, the damage, the splash damage that just came from that team fight, which was a really messy team fight at that, it helped so much in terms of how Vitality were able to just win the objective, and that is what really matters at this point. At least they're not able to hand over the complete advantage to True Rippers, but nonetheless, True Rippers were actually able to somewhat balance out that fight. It's not a huge loss despite them not getting the objective.
It was really good usage of the tools they had at hand. True Rippers, I mean, Eons as well, being able to avoid what Finn was trying to do. You know, those little micro decisions around the Lord, staying alive, being able to get being able to stay alive, even if they lost the Lord, it's still potentially to turn around because the key members stayed alive here. Garcia being one of them. And it's so important, again, his spacing, his positioning on the Moskov. He's done a phenomenal job not dying, utilizing his Purify when he needs to. But now you got to be the guy to also turn these fights in your favor. And there's a whole lot they can do off the Fatal Links. A Conceal's going to be used, scouting out a potential target. They won't find it just yet, though.
Yeah, and even the entries through the SOD, I think, have been really great for Garcia. It's not like he just goes in and puts himself in a very dangerous position. It's more calculated timing that you're actually seeing from him. Let's take a look at the gold distribution so far, and even in terms of scaling, I think he's been doing great, matching Eman in the gold lane. And the last time we checked, he was actually ahead in terms of gold, so it's really great. But that's a Purify.
Yep, Purify used. They're going to go for the re-engage here. They're going to disengage for now. An arrow is going to be able to land. They're going to force it anyway. A Fatal Links into the Mystic Gush. Moreno off the off angle. Going to be looking for more. Immortality going to be popped from Kimmy. A projectile thrown out, but it's a double for Nile. They're able to go ahead and pick up two, expending a lot of battle spells. And SOD just thrown out. Not going to connect, though.
iframes. The iframes. Ian's going to find the kill.
Finn on the hunt. He goes in with a flicker. There's the kick they're looking for, right into the hands of Nile. Another kill picked up. Team Vitality, what more can they take at this point? 3
members taken down, and they also took that orange buff. To answer your question, they're just really focusing now on resources because we're about to see a Lord spawning in 6 seconds. But let's take a look. That was a clear counter engage. They had all the reasons to do this simply because they already had information. Ian's was all alone. They could go for the chase, and Hirara is just one of the best heroes to rely on in terms of that and outputting the necessary damage. They're waiting for this. Are we actually going to wait for an entire minute, though? Because the Evolved Lord will take an entire minute. It seems like...
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. Okay. Lord secured. Now, at this point, again, it's... Breeder, they're in that situation, right? Backs against the wall. So I don't want to count them out, though.
Yep.
Even with that, that Lord secured, Team Vitality will have to kind of take their time going into this fight because of the nature of the composition. A lot of times, like I said, they're playing around the arrows. They're sort of also waiting to see what Kimmy decides to do with that Fatal Links, because they have to avoid that combo, that wombo combo we've been seeing so much of. Fatal Links, Mystic Gush, and keeping tabs on Garcia. So with this Lord approaching the base, let's see how True Rippers want to defend against it.
Yeah, it's already full item builds for both gold laners, for all damage dealers. I think Nile's just locking in his last, and he decides to switch it up and pick up a Winter Crown to complete his build, so there could be more creative angles from this point onwards.
Comes the Lord, charging into the mid turret. Fatal Links was already used too. They'll force it anyways, utilizing the iframes. Whoa! The damage from True Rippers. They're gonna chase down Nile. He's got an immortality, but he's trying to get away. Good use of the conceal, but an SOD from Garcia will come through, and they still escape. only losing Iman in that fight. It's one base turret down, that mid one barely alive. They should be able to clear it out, even with that charged up minion. But wow, we have to take a look at the replay.
That could have been the play of the game if only Garcia was able to find the kills. But looking at the replay right now, you have to respect the wave clear. You have to respect the damage that Garcia and Asuna are actually able to output at this point in time. The way that Vitality have actually somewhat lined up in that particular sequence really favored the damage dealers here from the side of True Rippers, and now they've completely turned things around. They're the ones who are approaching the base!
Oh, they go in. Fatal Links used. Mystic Gush already expended. Emon back for the fight. Kimmy's gone, and now they're going to get chased down in the mid lane. An arrow's going to land on Asuna. They're going to follow through as Asuna falls, but Garcia is unleashing once again. Comes through clutch for True Rippers to send Vitality back to the base.
The double marksman setup is still here.
Moreno.
Moreno, does he want to take that on?
No, Moreno, what are you doing? He went for it, and he gets punished anyway.
That was too late game, marksman. You were potentially going to go up against with the Abyssal Arrow nor the trap not landing. It was a very difficult spot for Moreno at that point. But this was the engage that changed everything. It was that Fatal Links combo, making sure that they found the targets, but I think this was also a sequence of miscalculations from Team Vitality as well. Finn once again did not really land that flicker. At the same time, the entries from Moreno and Nile weren't really in accordance to what they wanted to do, and now we see Ian's falling just before the Lord.
Yep. That's a solo kill right there. That's unfortunate timing as the Lord is up. This was the replay, so Nile knew where to go, and he can win that fight. You, as the hero, especially with the stacks, you can win that fight. Now this Lord, an evolved, mind you, will go over to Team Vitality because the jungler is not available for True Rippers.
So much has been happening here, but it's Team Vitality still being able to take this Lord freely from the hands of True Rippers. So they're just waiting, and they wanted to spawn at a certain moment in time here in this game. As they take away all the remaining buffs from True Rippers, Lians will take some time to get back in this game, but you're looking at an 80 stacks Sky Piercer. You just cannot allow yourself to get too low on HP at this point.
Yep, that's big stacks right there for Nile, and this is what, you know, was starting to happen throughout the course of the game, and that's why he's such a threat, because not only do you do that much damage, you know, even on these tankier heroes like this, look at what's going on for Kimmy already. Immortality going to be popped. They're going to force the fight anyway. A Mystic Gush will come down. Shogun's going to be the trade to the 1-for-1. Re-engage, trying to fight this out. So great choice for True Rippers. Now they have to defend, though. They have to be able to go and defend this beefed up Lord. These waves all pushing in on all fronts.
Yeah.
Only 4 members left alive.
But at least True Rippers took down their main front line. At least Shogun's gone, but now...
Once again, Winter Crown going to be used. Can't withstand it. There's the kick. They're coming in to clean up. Lord's still up. They're going to work on the base here. All they have to do is lock it down. Team Vitality will take a little bit of their time, but they'll win the series in a sweep.
It took them a while, but Team Vitality still are able to end the series 2-0. There were attempts here and there. You saw how they wanted to definitely fight back. It was highlight after highlight that you got to see.